This week's episode is brought to you by Derek Gerard Photography. Derek has been a professional for over 20 years and covers everything from weddings, corporate shoots, meet and greets and VIP events. He was also one of the club photographers at Dundee Football Club for 13 years. Derek will travel all over Scotland and beyond to capture your smiles, and as a wee thank you to listeners of this show, he'll give you a 20% discount when booking. All you have to do is get in touch via his Facebook page, Derek Gerard Photography, and mention the code CF26. Now, this could save you something like £300 from the cost of your wedding photography, for example. He's a great guy. He's photographed some of my shows in the past, some of the events I've done. I've met the guy. He's a legitimately brilliant photographer and a lovely gentleman, and we thank him very much for sponsoring the show. Thank you.
Stop watering dead flowers.
Thank you for joining us again. And I'm delighted to say this week in the garden we have the iconic Mr. Jonathan Watson. How are you?
I'm good, Chris.
How are you generally? I mean, as a way of introduction, I usually do a bit of an introduction for the guests, but again, not blowing smoke up your arse, but you are well known, certainly, from everything from obviously Only an Excuse to Two Doors Down more recently, but you've been an actor and performer for, across every medium for a long time.
Too long, some mates.
But you're currently working on something that's just about to start in the theatre, and then you've got the big live show as well coming up.
Yep, the rest of the year, I'm going up to Dundee Rep to appear in Educating Rita by Willie Russell, doing that, which goes up until the middle of the summer. And then just after that, we start rehearsals for a live show at the Hydro of Two Doors Down. So, and we do 10 dates of that.
Oh, wow.
Spread over 2 weekends.
Right, okay.
I think we've got Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So you do 5 within that. Then we've got the next weekend off and then another 5. So
That's... I mean, because I know that the show is massive, but was there a sense that you guys were like, I wonder how big it is, and then when you do a live show in the Hydro and realise you can do that many shows, that it's kind of almost startling?
Well, we actually didn't think that the live shows were going to happen because, as you probably know, one of the writers, Simon Carlyle, tragically died, and Gregor, understandably, did not feel ready to sort of tackle a project like that. And so the following series of that had been planned for Two Doors Down, that was shelved, and not long after that, the stage show was as well, because the stage show should have taken place by now.
Right.
And so it came as a complete surprise to all of us that at the beginning of this year, we were told. Oh no! In fact, sorry, it was the beginning of last year.
Right.
We were told that we were doing a Christmas special,
Which
we filmed last summer, and it went out prior to Christmas. And then shortly after that, Gregor said, "Look, I'm going to have a bash at the stage show."
Nice.
So it's it's great, not just from a work point of view, but it is a popular program.
Yeah.
It's and getting something that works pretty well. It's yourself. It's not easy. So but yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Brilliant. Looking at this particular podcast and the format, when you found out what it was about and realised what you had to come up with, was it easy for you? Are you someone that carries a lot of these kind of moments in your head, or are you usually quite good at letting things go?
I'm very good at letting things go.
Oh.
I think that's key if you're an actor.
Yeah.
Or if you're doing anything in our game, whether it be stand-up, whatever, I think you've got to be able to do that. Because the one thing I remember when I was at drama college, though, I loved my time at drama college, but the one thing that they didn't prepare you for was rejection and disappointment.
Yeah.
That's the one thing they do not cover. And, I look back and I can think of loads of people that were in drama college around about my time who were really, really talented.
Yeah.
But they couldn't handle
the
knockback.
Yeah.
And you know yourself, it doesn't matter what level you're at. You know, you could be a major movie star. You still have to deal with it because it happens to them as well.
Yeah.
So from very early on, I was able to deal with it.
Yeah.
And you've got to deal with it.
It's funny, it reminds me of, I think, when Raymond Mearns was on the show and he was talking about half the key to success in his mind was just staying in it.
Yeah.
Like, as long as you just keep going, that's part of it, is just going through all the bad times, because there will be something eventually.
Yeah, well, no, absolutely. There's always, you know, you're always going to get that. And I mean, you just got to deal with it. It's like running a small business.
Aye.
You're going to get peaks and troughs, and you've just got to soldier on.
Yeah.
But I am quite. If say I'm up for a part and I really want it, and I don't get it, it goes somebody else. My response is, well, Ackland.
Is that right?
Yeah. And that's it gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Their loss. And move on.
That's good.
So that might sound a wee bit arrogant, and I don't mean it to be, but you've got to be strong about it and just go, no, if you don't want me, fair enough.
See, I need to be better at that, because I'll spend quite a long time being like, that would have changed my life. I can't believe this is. I must have done something terrible, and I'll really stew and stuff.
But the thing is, what you should say is, it'll change your life for the better.
Yeah.
Because something better will come up. That's what you've got. That's what you've got to do.
You should be hosting this podcast. This is
That's
great
all.
advice.
Welcome to Johnny's therapy session.
Yeah, this is it.
Nah, yeah, that's the thing. Because the thing is, you know, if it doesn't pan out, you know, something else will present itself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that always happens.
You're right.
So,
Well, even though you've been very good at letting things go and moving on, let's try and re-traumatise you. We'll go back over, break over the coals.
I was just going to let go now.
Yeah.
No, I have got things for you, I promise.
No, not at all. It's fine. It is funny, as we were kind of mentioning beforehand. It's you don't think you have some, but then all of a sudden a couple of things will pop into your head right enough. And, traditionally, we like to usually start with a childhood one, and often they come easiest for people once you start thinking back, because you're a small person and you do things that you easily regret when you're older. But was there something in particular that reared its ugly head for you when you were a child?
That was the most difficult one to
Right.
think up, actually, when you sent me the email and asked me that. But yeah, a couple did end up coming to mind, and one of them actually took place in this church.
Oh yes, you were telling me your connection with this building from back in the day.
Back in the day, I mean, I was brought up very nearby, about 10 minutes walk down the road at St George's Cross. And although we weren't a family of churchgoers, this was our church.
Aye.
And in fact, I used to come to the Cubs here
Yeah.
when I was a
That's wild.
small squirt, second on the White Six, I'll have you know. And but I remember one of the first times we came along here on a Sunday. What used to happen is the Sunday school, the kids in the Sunday school were sort of separated from their parents, and they sat in that side of the church.
Right.
It seems coming through to do this.
Yeah.
You know, see the size of it. It seems so small. It seemed huge back then. But anyway, I was sat in amongst a bunch of kids that I didn't particularly know. My mum and dad were in the main body of the kirk. And the minister, his name was Mr. Williamson, was talking away about how the young generation were changing. And he asked a sort of rhetorical question about, I mean, how many of their children today in the Sunday school would even think of buying their mother and father flowers? And I should do, I do. Like that. Which got quite a good response, actually. Maybe it was the first taste of getting a laugh.
Yeah.
But I remember feeling, God, I shouldn't have said that. And I thought I was going to get absolutely hammered when I came out to go through to Sunday school. And then you go through, you come here. So there was that. And then the second thing that came to mind was when I was at primary school. And I was mortified at this. I don't know why I did it. I was about second year in primary school, and our teacher, Miss Ingalls, asked what our fathers did for a living.
Right.
And I said my dad was a doctor. And my dad isn't a doctor. My dad worked in advertising. He'd been a commercial artist, trained at Glasgow School of Art, and went in advertising. But I said he was a doctor, and I thought, why'd you say that?
Yeah.
He's not. And Parents' Night was coming up, and this image of Miss English saying, "And what do you do, Mr. Watson?" And he'll go, "I want advertising." And she'll say, "But Jonathan said you were a doctor." So I was traumatised by that. But yeah, these are two things I remember at the time.
Yeah.
Mortified.
You'd be like, oh no.
What did I do?
The first one in particular, though, shouting out that you would buy flowers for your parents, though, it's quite a sweet thing to be like.
I know, and a total lie into the bargain as well. I don't know why I said it. But
Do you know, especially if you go to theatre, to watch something, loads of actors have talked about this. If you're in the audience, sometimes you have that intrusive thought, if there's a really tense scene, to just kind of blurt something out in the audience. Man! It kind of feels like you had a wee moment of just wanting to say something.
But actually, I think audiences, I don't know if you find this with stand-up, but certainly if you're doing a play, audiences have changed now. It's almost as if they're sitting at home on their couch watching the TV, and they feel as if they can comment.
Yeah.
And I did a play recently with Maureen Carr, and I mentioned something about how poor pop music was today compared to back in the day with the Beatles. And this old guy was at the front going, "Aye, absolutely. I mean, I couldn't agree more with you." And you're going, try to say lines here, you want to shut up. But so yeah. I don't know.
What was going to the doctor thing though as well? I mean, was there any? Did it come up at all? Did you tell him in advance, or did you tell him that you had said this to your teacher? Or
No, I think I maybe mentioned it to my mum.
Right.
I think the pressure got too much for me, and I had to share it. So, so it was okay. It was never a thing. But I mean, at the time, it was like.
I wonder if it was a competitive thing, or if other kids had said jobs that you were like, "Oh, maybe I'll come up with something." Or
It might have been something like that. It might have been something like that. But out of the blue, just blurted it
doctor.
out. Doctor.
What an awkward moment if there'd been an emergency on parents' evening.
Exactly. Oh, Mr. Watson, you can help me.
Please, Dr. Watson. That's wild, yeah. Well, the things we do as kids, it's bizarre. But it does strike me as the fact that those two things are kind of outspoken, kind of creative lies that you are destined for a career in the arts.
That's it. Yeah. Well, that's the same as being an actor. You lie creatively.
Yeah. So moving forward in time then, perhaps a career one's a good one to go to then. And again, were you someone that had a lot of different jobs before the kind of acting really took off, or did you start quite early on and manage to make a good career early?
Well, I did a lot of stuff when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to tell you about that?
Sure.
Okay.
Aye,
So,
aye.
well, this is the way into how I got into this profession, I suppose. But when I was about 10, my dad came home one night and said, "Look, there's a junior course at the Royal Scottish Academy of Music and Drama. Do you want to give it a go?" And this is, you would never, you didn't have drama classes at school at that point. It was something completely new. And I said, "Yeah, I'll give it a go." And I'd be about 10 at the time. And I went along. It was a Saturday morning, and also for about an hour on a Wednesday after school, and along down at the old Athenaeum down there, and I really enjoyed it. And at that time, if the BBC or anybody were casting anything, they would come along and sit up the back,
Right.
and if they thought you might be right, you'd be asked to read whatever. And I did a lot of stuff when I was a kid, which gave me a sort of taste for it. Things like Dr. Phillips Casebook, Sutherland's Law, Wednesday Play, loads of stuff. And but when I left school, I had no intention of going into it as a profession. I was going to follow my dad into
Being a doctor.
being a doctor. Yeah. So I didn't get in, failed miserably. But I was going to follow my dad into advertising and do copywriting because I really enjoyed English. And then when I did a course to prep me for that because I knew I had a job waiting for me.
Right.
BBC came and offered me a play, and I needed about 2 weeks off from the College of Commerce course I was doing,
Right.
and they wouldn't give it to me. And my dad said, what do you want to do? I said, I'd like to do the play, the BBC play. And he went, just do it. So
Wow.
I dogged it for about 2 weeks. And I went back, nobody said anything.
Oh, really? Aye.
And then the next day I went in and I got one of the last edition places for Drama College. And
Oh, no.
did it. I've actually forgotten the main part of the question you were
No,
asking.
well,
I
it
went in a
just-
ramble
It
there.
was an interesting way. I just wondered if you'd had a bunch of other jobs before acting became, like, you know, your main vocation. But that's interesting that it was almost a proper sliding doors moment of, do you want to do the play or not? And
Yeah, but if it hadn't been for my dad, you know, that
Same,
he
yeah.
did a huge part. So I went to the drama college for 3 years, and when I left, I auditioned for the SITs, and I got my equity card from TAG.
Oh, yeah.
So that was I started, working with TAG, and then doing a play for the day in the summer. Usually be a drama in the summer at that point. There wasn't anything like the number of TV productions there are now.
Aye.
I mean, it was like one or two in the summer, you know. And so I got into a routine for that for about 2 or 3 years, working with 784 and stuff like that. And then I did Local Hero. And then I did a play with a guy called Ron Bain, who at that time was working with the comedy unit doing Kick Up the 80s, Laughing Nearly Paid My Licence Fee, stuff like that. And he recommended me to the comedy unit.
Right.
And I was asked to join Naked Radio. That's where I first met Philip.
Aye, of course, the
different.
creator of Only an Excuse and
Yes.
many other shows. That's great. And so, out of which is a very, you know, wide and varied career, as we're saying, when you thought of a career moment or memory, when did that happen for you?
I still get goosebumps thinking about this. I told her for the first time to join him at night recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and this is absolutely true. So I was pretty well established by this point. So
So sorry.
oh, it's okay. Is that your agent trying to get you out of this?
Yes.
So it'd be about 25 years ago, right? And I was down in London, and there was this production for BBC Three, and it was written by one of the League of Gentlemen, Jeremy Dyson, and another guy who was really highly thought of at that point. I can't remember the guy's name, and even if I did, I wouldn't say it. But I can say Jeremy Dyson. That's okay. Anyway, they'd written this piece, sort of dark comedy for BBC Three, and I'd been put up for it, and they said we'd love to see Jonathan for this. But what I was doing down in London, difficult to juggle it in. They said we'll see him at lunchtime.
Right.
We'll wait and we'll see him at lunchtime. So I got there a wee bit early, outside Television Centre, stuck from Shepherd's Bush. I'm sitting, it was a summer's day, and I was outside, and I was thinking, right, okay, yes, get your head together for going into this. So you go in, and they'll say, thanks so much for coming. Say, no, thanks for meeting me. Did you get a chance to do the play? I said, yes, I did. What did you think of it? I thought it was a lot of shite. So, thing like that. So this is going through my head, right? So I went up the stairs at lunchtime, just about 1:05. Went in, they said, thank you so much for coming. I said, that's not my pleasure. And they said, did you get a chance to do the play? I said, yes, I did. And they said, what did you think? I said, I thought it was a lot of shite. Right? And it was right before I said it. And Jeremy Dyson, he thought it was very funny. The other guy did not. Right? So I'm there 5 minutes. I'm 2-0 down. I haven't even kicked a ball yet.
Oh, man.
So, and it was a great part, right? They ended up, they cast somebody much older than me, which didn't make me feel so bad about it.
Right.
But I was quite keen to do it because it was a guy that worked in a hotel. And my wife and I had just stayed at this place outside Fort William.
Right.
And I was going to base it in this block because I remember going down to pay the bill on the Sunday morning in this little sort of tartan-clad reception. And I could hear this. It wasn't an argument. It was a shouting match.
Oh, really?
Right? And it was like, I hate you. Then all of a sudden the door went, hi, how can I help you? Like that. One of these things.
Yeah.
So I thought, right, I'll channel that. So I did that. And it went, honestly, God, I read it really, really well. Jeremy Dyson loved it. The other guys like that. So I didn't get it. But I remember I came out, I was mortified. And I remember my agent, the officer was in Poland Street in Soho that time. I made a beeline for it. And I said, man, you've no idea what I've done. You've no idea. And she went, what did you do? I told her. And she said, oh, look, if they can't take a joke, do you want to work with them? I said, I know, but so that was my career when I was mortified.
Wow. Do you think, I mean, because the other person thought it was funny. Did you think it's just a wee joke, or was there a party that thought, oh, don't say that, and it just slipped out unintentionally?
It slipped out unintentionally.
Right.
I wasn't trying to be funny.
Right.
I wasn't trying to, it just came out.
Yeah.
I've obviously had a number of things rattling through my head, and it just came out in autopilot.
So it was just like the I do thing at the church, and my dad's a doctor, and
Exactly.
a load of shite.
Load of shite.
That's wild. I don't know, but it would have been memorable as well.
Oh, yeah.
They'd have been like, well, what about the guy that thinks the place shite?
I don't even know if I got into that conversation. But, that was my career low. Then of course I adopted my other side of me, and I just went, fuck it.
Well, there you go. Aye, that's the best way, as you say. But it's a good one though as well, because you were obviously busy at the time as well and working, and you probably weren't resting too much on it as well. And
no, but I did want to. I did want to get it, but one of these things. It's still an iPlayer, I think, this thing.
Is that right?
I think so. They'll be getting a bag of Revels and a balloon for it.
Yeah. All right, that's a cracker for the career one. Will we go to a relationship one? Was there one that stood out for you, or would you like to just go to other for the category?
There is a good relationship story, more or less about how I met my wife, actually.
Well,
but it's not. It's more mortifying for our mother, my mother-in-law.
We'll take it.
You'll take it?
We'll take that.
Okay, you're easy, please. Right. So my wife and I, before we got together, we were both in different relationships.
Right.
They weren't going anywhere. Right. And mutual friends decided that the two of us would make a good match.
Right.
And as far as I know, I was told there's one of our friends, the two of you would be great together. And I'm going, well, when am I going to meet her?
Yeah.
Right? And they would never let on, they wouldn't let on her name or anything, right? So, wavy fade to one day, I'm in the supermarket, right? I won't give locations here, but it was a supermarket I wouldn't normally have frequented at that time. And so I'm in the supermarket, and this older woman comes up to me, and she goes, "You're going to go out with my daughter." I went, "Sorry?" She said, "You're going to go out with my daughter." And I went, what are you talking about? And she went, "She's half a Bonnie, you know. She's half a Bonnie." This is me doing very bad Aberdeen accent. And I'm looking at her, and she's going, "I know you're going to be going." And all of a sudden I went, "I wonder if this is..." I said, what's your daughter's name? And she said, "Celine." I said, "Right." I said, "Well, it's been lovely talking to you. All the very best, and enjoy the rest of your shopping." That night, I went round to my mate's house, and it was his missus who was responsible for this. Right. And I said, "How are things going?" "It's not bad, not bad." Blah, 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 blah. I said, "So, when am I going to meet Celine?" And they went, "How do you know her name?" And I told this story. So my wife only heard about this, I think, after we were married.
Oh, really?
And she was mortified, hugely mortified. And I've got this, looking back and thinking about it, I can remember my father-in-law, Charlie, who I got on great with. I can remember him being in the background, sort of hiding behind broccoli and stuff like that, flat leaf parsley, going, "What the fuck is she saying now?"
What a thing to do. Oh, I can imagine.
So that's how I ended up getting married.
You did. That's how you met then.
Yeah, because we did go out after that, and we did go on great, and we were married pretty quick.
So even our mum knew it. That would be a good
Yeah.
That's funny that she was kind of pimping out her own daughter.
I know.
You're going to go.
It's there's something a bit seedy about that, but, you know, who am I to say, you know.
That's lovely. That's lovely. And you had a nice relationship with the in-laws as well, which
Yeah.
is, I guess the stereotype would be that that's the difficult relationship. Not that I want to delve into my own personal life too much. But
I'm not saying it's perfect. I have to just add to that, Chris. Right.
but that's great. I mean, it's nice though as well to think that for the relationship topic, there's not been any particular, horrible memories that came to mind as well, which seems like it's a nice thing. That seems like you've had healthy relationships in your life.
Well, very few,
Yeah,
but all healthy,
good.
fairly. The only thing that I could tell you that's embarrassing, vaguely, was took place at the Hackney Empire
Oh, aye.
at an after-show party.
Right.
The Elaine C. Smith and Helen Leder were performing at this women's benefit at Hackney Empire. And me and Helen had been at Gregor Fisher's down in Brixton. This is the late 80s.
Right.
Gregor stayed down in Brixton. And he made, typical Gregor, he made Pimm's. Right? The Wimbledon final was on, and he made his homemade Pimm's. And honest to God, you could have started a car in this stuff. And by the time I got up to the Hackney Empire, I didn't know if it was New York New Year. And when I got there, I said, Helen Leder's left my ticket. They were like that, aye, very good, beat it. And I just spent about 30 quid in a taxi, which at that time,
Aye.
you could put a deposit down in the house for that. And I got up, and they wouldn't let me. I went to the stage door, they wouldn't let me in. I went to the front, they wouldn't let me in. Went back to the stage door, and as the girl, I think it was the girl, opened the stage door again,
Yeah.
I booted it open. And I don't know if you've been at the Hackney Empire, but the Hackney, so the stage door's there, and just where the radiator is, that's the stage. And Elaine's husband, Bob Morton, grabbed me, right? And it just saved me from spilling onto the stage. And at the after-show party there, I was chatting away to this girl who had a kind of Breton sweater on, right? And I thought I was getting on really well.
Yeah.
Robert, right? And Bob was beside me, and we were chatting away, and I turned around to speak to Bob, and she walked away immediately, having had enough. But another girl with a Breton sweater, almost identical, stood in her place, and I carried on the conversation without missing a beat, much to her bemusement. And that night ended with me. I stayed in Highbury in Islington at that time, and I walked through Hackney and Dawson at 2 o'clock in the morning to go home without getting shot, which was a huge achievement.
That's brilliant. That is brilliant. Chat to the new person in the jumper.
Without a beat.
She's like, what?
But she just had the same jumper on. And it was, I mean, yeah, I'm not through the thickness of the stripes, but yeah.
There's one other question I want to ask though about, and there might not be ones in particular that you regret so much, and it's maybe a kind of question you get quite a lot in terms of the only an excuse part of your career, having to do lots of impressions and poking fun at public figures in the world of sport. Was there ever any one of the sketches or impressions that you did that you sometimes go, oh, that was a bit close to the bone, or that didn't go down well, or anything like that from the show?
Not really, no. Because Philip and I had our own kind of shorthand for it. If we were to do a gag and the person was to walk through that door there, how would we feel?
Right, that's good.
And if we were mortified by it, we wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And that was the way that we judged it. And because Philip and I have been working together so long, we've got a good shorthand as well, do you know? So we're nearly always in the same lines. I mean, we've never really had in-depth arguments about script changes or anything like that, because if it doesn't seem right, we just think, well, there's a reason for that. Let's move on.
That's it.
So no, I've never really,
That's good.
never really sort of felt an awkwardness at all.
That's a nice way of working. I can only imagine that there's a lot of writers out there that will be like, how could we annoy somebody as well? Whereas that sounds like a very wholesome, good way of looking at.
It's kind of what it's kind of worked for us, even in out with of Only an Excuse. I mean, it's, you probably know we did for years. We did a radio show for Discord called Watson's Wind Up,
Yeah.
which took a sort of topical look at the past week's headlines,
Right.
and that was a similar thing. If the gag didn't feel quite comfortable,
Yeah.
it would be felt to go, well, I either do that or we'll just leave it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Because it's funny when I think of like stuff like Ali G and people that kind of made fun of other celebrities that then kind of almost affected their lives. Or
yeah,
the guy that the Bo Selector and the guy that did the Craig David kind of impersonation.
well, what's the actor's name that did Dennis Pennis?
Oh, of course, yeah. Kay.
Paul
what's his
Kay.
first name? Paul Kay. Yeah.
I was reading something recently. It was a thing that he did, and I can't remember exactly who it was again, but it was quite a famous one, and it kind of ruined their lives quite a bit.
Yeah.
But they were particularly brutal.
Yes, aye.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I think of that Craig David one and the singer and him coming out saying that really affected my career for years because everyone just associated him with this impression of him with people in the Craig David, and he was like, "So I'm trying to sing songs here, you know." But that's nice to know. I mean, it was always so well received as well, but I think there was some. I think because there's quite a lot of hard men in Scottish football as well. There's a part of me that thought, would you even be nervous sometimes about doing, like a Graham Souness or something,
I've done Souness. Listen, I've done Souness. Not long after he came to
really?
Rangers.
Aye.
It was one of the very first times that we were invited to speak at one of the big football dinners. It's when Tony Roper did it.
Oh, aye.
And so I had to do a line with Souness, and he was sitting right there. And I tell you, if you I'm doing the whole thing, and he's just looking at me like a shark. But to be fair, a few years later, not all that long later, I was doing pantomime at the Kings in Glasgow, and Chick Young had phoned me up and said, "Look," he said, "we're going out for a Chinese meal later on." He said, "You'll be free from the panto." He said, "And Graham's going to be there," and he knew that I was a huge fan, one of my favourite footballers, and he said, "Would you like to join?" So we went out. Girl was going out at the time, and we went and joined them. And I was sat between Souness on one side and his fiancée on the other side. And once a few drinks were taken, she said, "Do them now." I went, if you don't mind, I'd rather not. Okay. But then a few drinks were taken. And eventually I said, I said, "This is a better Chinese restaurant than I first thought." And he turned around and he went, "You're right, John. It's a better Chinese restaurant than that first thought."
No way.
Yeah. So he was great with it.
That's incredible.
But then he did a thing, and he is great. He's brilliant. He did a thing for the Variety Club a few years ago, and it was a great night. Did a Q&A session that Chick actually fronted, and at the end of it, I went up and I said, "I'm going to head now." I said, "But nice to see you guys." He said, "Take care, John." Right? And just as I was going to, this young lad stopped me, right? He went, "Can I get my photograph taken with you, please?" And I said, "Sure." And so he's quite a tall lad, and he's asked me to sign this, and he said, I'm Graham's son." I saw it. He said, "When I was at school, you made my life hell." And I felt terrible. He was such a nice lad. And he said, I think he was partly joking.
Yeah.
Partly joking, but I felt bad.
Yeah. Aye, people
That's
must
true.
have been doing the impressions
Yeah.
at school all the time. And but no, I'd have been joking as well because you don't think of that. That's
You
mad.
don't think, I know, but no, it's fine.
Listen, these have all been great stories, and thank you for sharing them. I mean, if there's any other little Dead Flower memories that you want to get off your chest,
Yes.
then feel free.
I'll email in.
Email in, yes, Sally will read them out. But otherwise, I was going to say, what have you got coming up? But you've told us all the stuff as well, with the Dundee, the live show. If there's anything else you want to give a plug, you've got your own podcast as well, of course.
That I do with Philip.
Phil and
Philip Different and Chickatita Young.
That's
And Josie Smith, who is our sort of mediator. And it's
that's
called...
been going great, yeah.
It's been going well. It's called Forget the Ball, Get On With the Game.
Yeah.
So that's do that every weekend.
Yeah.
So
But no, thank you very much again, and thanks for everyone for listening, watching. Thanks again to Derek Gerard Photography for sponsoring this episode, and a big thanks to the Stand Comedy Club, Sean Stables, Chris Thorburn. I've been Chris Forbes. See you next time.